Em
and Lex.
Two imperfect six-figure business coaches, co-founders, and friends who decided to combine our superpowers to bring to market something we wish we had when we entered the world of coaching.
A real, non-BS, intimate, and fun community built with integrity, intention, and a few glasses of wine.
In this podcast, we get real.
Real about life,
business,
relationships,
and what it really takes to find your version of success in the world of coaching. Are you ready, Lex?
I'm set, Em.
Let's coach.
Hi, Em.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Your hair looks great. Guys, if you watch our YouTube, there could not be a better example of epic fails for our last few weeks of episodes. Do not hire us to set up your Zoom tech. We will fail you.
No, we are a work in progress and we are learning. But I do have to say, I'm loving this fireside chat, and hopefully you'll actually see it this time. Last week we tried and we referenced the fireside chat 1,000 times, and then we hit upload and it was like a white background, and it was just so embarrassing in that sense. But I would say, Lex, do you have a good side?
I definitely do. Well, I have a preferred side because of my hair part.
So we're on the wrong side, and that's
it's not my forte. Because if I go to the other side, you can never see my face. You have a part too, although you can also rock the mid part. Okay. I tried that when I was 2022. There's tons of pictures cataloging it, and it's regret.
Did you look like you were going to kill someone? I feel like I'm like a serial killer.
I'll show you. Okay, here we go. Middle part. No, wait, that's not middle.
I feel like it feels so dorky and nerdy, but the cool kids are doing it.
No, it looks really, really good on a lot of people.
Yes, see, you notice how she said a lot of people.
Doing our hair. This isn't even, I can't even do it anymore. It doesn't want to do it. Anyways.
I don't know about you, but my scalp gets cold when I do it too. Like, I feel like there's like a gentle breeze that is happening it's not used to. Well, this part is like very used to the gentle breeze. This one's like, wow, I need to wear a sweater because I can't handle it.
I hear that. I had a bad middle part phase, and that paired with I've had really bad eyebrow phases. So I don't have eyebrows pretty much. They're very, very blonde, which means I've always had to draw them on. I've tried dyeing them. I've gone through different shades. They've been too red. They've been, okay, I want to do really dark bushy. And you can see photos of me over the years that are just so bad. They're so bad.
Yeah, I think I will create a post for us on Instagram of all of our phases of eyebrows, which I'm going to throw this into a transition right now. Oh. It's kind of, I know, I'm scared. It kind of reminds me of the different phases of business that we go through, and phases of business are like, how do you manage your different eyebrow phases? Because they all need to be managed differently, just like your business does.
Yes, I like it. I like it. We're here. So today we're talking about juggling all the things. So we're going to talk through a few different views here. If you're a professional who has a full-time job and you're wanting to launch a side hustle, or you have one, we're also going to talk about the current existing business owner who's drumming up a new revenue stream, and then the crazy people like us who are also doing multiple businesses. And then how does all that work with the other titles in our life, like mom, partner, friend, human, all the things.
Are we those things too? Huh.
Fascinating. So.
Yeah, I guess so. So should we continue with the eyebrow puns and say, when you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed?
Keep it going, Em. Nope. Yep, I'm here for it. Kick us off.
When I was a youth, I started off with big eyebrows, and I didn't know what I was doing with those eyebrows. And then I hired a professional to help me learn to manage my eyebrows. And then I learned how to manage my eyebrows myself. And then they got a little out of whack again. So I went back to a professional to reshape my eyebrows.
I'm here for it. I'm following. Now, I'm also not following because I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm dragging my feet a little slow this morning. I'm a little tired. We're recording this in the morning. I need some coffee. So Emily, I love the metaphors, but can you break that down for me literally?
Great question, Lex. Great question. So, okay, so let's start off first and foremost with the person who is running they've one business. They are running. Let's start with one and then we'll add on to one. Does that work? We can take a shot of coffee with every person.
Super down. So this is for you if you are someone who is maybe a consultant. Maybe you are offering done for you marketing services or done for you social media services. This is for you if you are a product-based business owner or if you have a community. What are some other business types we can throw in there?
Coaches, where you're coaching on one specific type of coaching, where you're offering one deliverable, one transformation.
Yeah. Service-based, consultants, anyone who has a current product base who is looking to add a new coaching revenue stream. We think one of the most, so to keep this narrowed in, let's really talk about our service base and our product base. So I'm going to talk through an example of a client we have. We have a client who had a really fantastic product-based brand. She had a candle company, and she came to us interested in launching a coaching arm to her life, where she helped other product-based businesses. Now, while she was doing this, she had to still manage all that comes with a product-based business. And if you're not in that space, there's so much that goes on, from inventory to, there's so much that service businesses don't have to deal with. So what are some of the ways that she can, or she could, or she has to? What are some tips on how to balance and juggle both of those things?
Yeah. So for this particular client and for someone in that same boat, it's just being really clear of what is time sensitive, I think, first and foremost, because she had deliverables, literally deliverables to provide for her clients. And so knowing the things that were categorizing the things that she was doing in terms of like most urgent, medium urgent, can be done a little bit later. So a person in this role needs to be really, really, really organized. And that might involve using a project management system. It might be involving a virtual assistant who's like your naggy mom that keeps you organized, but getting really, really, really organized so she doesn't drop the literal ball of delivering a product when she said she would deliver a product.
So a common metaphor that people like to talk about, this is not mine, I'm stealing this, but it's great, is if you're juggling balls, you need to know which ones are rubber and which ones are glass. Meaning if you drop a ball, what's going to break and what's going to bounce right back up, right? So there's certain things in life, let's talk about this business, where let's say someone has ordered your product and they need it in store by a set date. That might be a glass ball, because if you drop that, there's repercussions. Flip side, let's say you have a social media to do on your list about posting 3 times a week to Instagram. That might be a rubber ball, because while you should do it, if you drop it, nothing's going to break. So it really comes down to prioritizing and understanding which tasks not being completed have a repercussion or a consequence, and which ones, if we have to, can be put aside.
Analogy. It's an analogy.
Lord have mercy. I was looking for that word. Analogy. That is an analogy. Okay. Thank you.
It's really early, guys. It's very early. Let's just say it's the crack of dawn, which it's not. So Lex, with this particular example, and she has a lot of glass balls, she's got rubber balls, she knows her different balls. How does she then layer on a coaching revenue stream?
Yeah. So first and foremost, it's a choice. And I have a big soapbox when it comes to time management, because it's very easy to fall into the trap of I don't have time. When I feel time, there is some realities. If you are in a 15-hour conference tied to a table, okay, fine. No, you can't go do something else. But a lot of the things we do in life comes down to choices and choosing to prioritize certain items. So same thing comes here. If you really want to commit to launching a revenue stream, you have to make a choice to make time. So that could look like starting with blocking 2 hours a week on your calendar, where non-negotiable, that is your space and time to work on your coaching business. So it's making that choice and then following that up with putting systems in place. You kind of already mentioned project management tools. You have to know how you work already. If you are an existing business owner, you might already have a flow. So where can you interrupt that flow in a natural way to integrate this new revenue stream and this new arm of your business.
Yes, I completely agree. And I love what you said about choice. It is so much a choice. And a lot of times we work with clients who are like, I want to do it all, but I can't. And then we take a look at their time and their time management, or the choices that they're making. If they're going out to dinner every single night, and they're like, I usually work really well between the hours of 5 and 7. Like, maybe it's cutting down on going out to dinner every night and picking one night a week to dedicate to your business, and using that time. And I think the reality also is, and this is a learning that comes with time, and it comes with a lot of trial and error, but starting another business in addition to your business is going to take time, and it's also going to take patience. And we are an on-demand Uber generation who wants things done yesterday. So it can be a really big challenge when it feels like you are yelling at the void about your new offer. And you're like, oh my God, I've been talking about this for a whole month and no one's paying attention. Well, you know what? Keep yelling, because it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of reiterating before people catch on what you're doing, especially if they know you for something else.
Amen. Give yourself grace, give yourself runway. This is something new. You're going to have to rethink through how you market this. This might be a new audience for you. This likely is going to involve a new way of thinking, a new way of doing. So you're actually in a very fortunate position if you have an existing business, because it's going to be providing you with revenue to give you the space to allow yourself the time to really launch this revenue stream in a right way. Now, flip side, the cool thing about being a business owner, right, is you're a little bit more in control of your time. So let's talk about if you're a 9-to-5er and you can't just peace out for 2 hours on a Tuesday because you'll get fired. So how can you make room in your life, and how can you start and run a side hustle while you're in a 9-to-5? And take us away.
Oh, I have so many different feelings and approaches for this. One, a lot of times the side hustle you're starting can be mutually beneficial to the company that you're working for. So for example, like, are there things that have common overlaps? So maybe for your company, it would make sense for you to go to South by Southwest. Your company's paying for you to go to South by Southwest. But also, going to South by Southwest is an opportunity for you to network and connect with like-minded potential clients. So you could play both sides of the hat. You have to be very cognizant of how you do that. And that's one thing I would just caveat, is like, be very aware. But if you feel like you could be out in the open about your business and also have a company job, there are activities and events and experience that are beneficial for that. Another thing too is, again, time blocking, really, really being strategic about the time that is allowed. A lot of companies, not companies I worked at, but a lot of companies do allow lunch breaks, or do have lunch breaks, which they really encourage you not to be working or not sitting at your computer working. So that's a great time to utilize for something else. We have a current client who is a teacher, and she uses her lunch breaks to come to our calls. She uses her recess breaks to come to our calls. And so she's really able to optimize the time when she knows there's flexibility with it. And then thirdly, I would say, we have the privilege of working from home, a lot of companies. And I think that has been probably the greatest incentive to start a business, because you don't have a manager looking over your shoulders the way that you have historically. So is there a way to potentially give yourself like an every other hour break, or give yourself a dedicated amount of time where you could spend working on something and move that task forward? It could be a separate computer, could be a separate browser, whatever feels right for you, but committing and giving yourself like a blocked time. This is completely unrelated, but I really like this story. My husband is very committed to walking our dog Daisy. And when he worked in a corporate job, he would walk home from the corporate job to go walk Daisy. And he would put design review on his calendar every single day. So it was blocked. He's a designer. It wasn't something that was questioned. And he would be able to dedicate that 1 hour spot to walking his dog Daisy as a non-negotiable. So similarly, carving out that non-negotiable for your business.
Now, I'm going to share from another perspective, because I have a lot of mixed feelings on this when it comes to ethics. And there's two lenses I'm speaking from here. One, just as an FYI to everyone, on my other business, the THEPRBAR agency, I now have a full-time in-house employee who I have a salary and benefits and all this stuff too. So I also grew up with a lot of business owners, small business owners. And so I know, here's where I'm going with there. I think it depends on the size of company and the type of company you're working for. When I was a VP at a telecommunications company, it was roughly 100 employees. I was a really big part of that company. There weren't thousands and thousands and thousands of employees. And for me, ethically, I couldn't really divide my day. So I gave that company 6 months notice, just FYI, while I left. And I really only did work on it in the evenings and on the weekends. I think it's about knowing the company you're working for and doing a gut check ethically about how they might feel. If you're working for a Nike, so to say, who has bandwidth of thousands of employees, then okay, like it's okay, right? But if you're working for a one-man shop who's really, really depending on you, that's where I think the lines get a little blurred. So my question for everyone listening is, are you working for a company that can support a side hustle? And if you're not, that might be worth reconsidering where you're working. If a side hustle is something you're really passionate about and you're working for a small business who really, really depends on you and you would feel ethically uncomfortable to be working while you're working for them, then maybe that's not the right fit, right? Because I think that small business also deserves all of you. And so this is funny because I was messaging Emily before this podcast. I get really torn because there's a lot of shoulds in the world of company culture that we hear. And I think it really depends on the size and the type of company, because I will tell you, if I spent a lot of money and I sent my employee to a conference and she was working her side hustle, that would really hurt my one-man shop. Whereas if I have a 5,000 person company, I'm not going to feel that hit as much. I don't know. I'm just my own little devil's advocate here.
I think this is a good debate to think about too. And it depends if it's like competitive of the business that you're doing. So I'll give an example that came to my mind when I used that reference. I was invited to an events conference where it was an event planning conference. I was an event planner at a high luxury fashion brand, and I connected with amazing people. I also had 6 Degrees Society in the off times. And so I worked on both creating collaborations with the people I met and successful collaborations, but then was able to invite them kind of on the personal front. Like, I don't want you on behalf of your business. I want you on behalf of you for your own personal growth if you want to ever come to one of my events. And this is actually like a long-term relationship that was able to be leveraged in multiple different capacities. So I think just being open-minded and like being transparent with people, like, yeah, this is what I do by day. I plan events, but if you ever want to like connect further about personal development, like I'm hosting my next event, you're always welcome to come. So I think being strategic about it, not being taken away from your existing business, because I do hear you. I'd be probably a little peeved as well. But then something that I will counter argument on too, I do think my favorite thing about having a side hustle is having personal expression. And a lot of times when you think of side hustles, it's like, I love baking and I sell pies on the weekends, or I love jewelry and I do it as an outlet. So side hustles can be both something that is an outlet for you, or it could be something that you then make extra money on because the company you're working for isn't filling your cup fully.
Yeah, I'm pro side hustle, and my employee has a side hustle. I knew that coming in. It's just very known between us that when she's with me, she's focusing on me. And so the conversation here, I actually think it's helpful for you guys to hear both sides and to think about it. So many times I feel like we only think of the large corporate perspective, which is just one. And so I think it's worth acknowledging the size of company you're with, the culture of company you're with, the reality. And it's that type of company, a type of company that can support someone who wants a side hustle. I support her side hustle as long as my work is getting done, and while I'm paying her, it's not going towards her side hustle. She can do whatever she wants in her off time, but when she's with me, that's where I want her focus. So to that point, when I was launching the THEPRBAR Inc. for the company I didn't ethically feel comfortable mixing the waters with, I made a choice to work on it in the evenings, late at night, and I'm not a night person, and on the weekends. And that line was very clear for me. And for me, that's what felt good. So there's not one way necessarily to do this. I think it's a gut check on what feels right to you, what feels right to your company. There also might be legalities involved. Check your contract, guys. There are non-competes. Be really, really careful if your side hustle is something that is competitive to your company. And once you understand ethically and legally where those lines in the sands are, then once again, it comes back to choice, choosing to make space.
Lex, how can people find out how to work with us?
Super simple. Go to readysetcoachprogram.com, link in show notes.
Yes, exactly. So amen. In conclusion, find that time. It could be the weekends. It could be early in the morning. It might be swapping a morning workout for an hour of your business. It might be swapping a dinner for 2 hours of your business. And if you are committed, and I will also emphasize, and I think this is an important thing, because we're not promoting for you to work really hard for nothing. There needs to be a why behind it. Like, why are you so interested in getting this side hustle off the ground, or this revenue stream off of the ground? There should be something that, there's a business motivation, the money motivation, but there's also a feeling that can be attached to it.
Yeah. So the next situation we're going to talk through is our multi-business owners, which Emily and I can speak to very personally because that's what we are, right? So as a quick reminder, if you're a new listener, I have a company called THEPRBAR. It's half coaching, half agency. Then obviously I have Ready Set Coach with Emily, and then I have 2 podcasts. Similarly, Emily, what do you have? I won't speak for you.
I have 6 Degree Society, which is a community and in real life and virtual networking. I have one-on-one coaching. I have a mastermind. I also consult for both a platform called Self-Made and for my alma mater, Denison.
Yeah, so she has 6 degrees
and Ready Set Coach, obviously, which she said.
She has 6 degrees, which has coaching under it. She has. Do you consider your one-on-one coaching under 6 degrees, or is Emily Merrell a separate company? Okay, so 6 degrees, consulting, and Ready Set Coach, if we paraphrase. And you also have 2 podcasts, one of which we're on.
Exactly.
So I'll also say we're moms, we're wives, we're friends, we're family members, and we're, believe it or not, individual human beings.
What? No, and we are very, very good consumers of television and books or podcasts.
Yes, we are. So how do we do it? Okay, first and foremost, I'll kick us off. I don't always do it perfectly. Not gonna lie. I want you to hear, sometimes I feel like there's this juxtaposition we hear of failure or success, and that gray in between is often missed and often breezed over. This is something that some weeks I do really well and some weeks I don't. Just point blank. I'm still figuring it out because I'm an evolving human. Our businesses are growing, our lives are growing, our children are growing, right? That being said, something that helps me is being very, very aware. And this is something we've talked about in other episodes, but being aware of my personal professional boundaries and my energy levels. So I know what amount of energy I need to show up for each arm of my business. I also know what I need to do to protect that energy. And that means I'm not someone who can work 24 hours a day and be up until 2 a.m. I just can't do it. That doesn't work with Lexie. So before I monopolize this conversation and talk for 50 more minutes, that's one thing that I do. Emily, what about you?
I know my boundaries in that I like to pad things. And so, for example, like my Mondays are pretty light and my Fridays are pretty light. And so I know I can work really, really hard for 3 days and like ease in and ease out. It's kind of like when you start, I was going to say skiing, and I shouldn't give a skiing analogy because I'm terrible at this, but like you start slow and then it gets really intense and then you like ease slow again. I also just want to add really quick to Lex. Lex's B+ is most people's A+. So she is being very hard on herself, but she is just an extraordinary, you have an incredible output for one human being. It is insane. I would also add, in terms of how the hell I do it, it's support. Like, I would not be able personally to do anything if my child was running around going, mom, all day long, because then I'm not good at task switching. My brain is not good at task switching. And then similarly, having a to-do list and knowing that I need like big things on my to-do list to accomplish. And I don't accomplish most of the things on my to-do list. It's a working to-do list, but accomplishing bite by bite helps me get the things done.
Beautiful. I think support is something that's worth talking about a little bit more too, because there's support outside of work, right? Emily Jackson goes to daycare right now. I have some childcare. I have 20 hours at the moment a week. So that's one level of support. Additionally, we have teams. We also have each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Ready, Set, Coach, we are considered team members to each other. We have a podcast producer who helps us with the show. I have Megan. Emily has team members on the 6 Degree Society. So it's worth us highlighting it. We also hire an accountant. We also have a bookkeeper. Like, there are choices and investments that we have made to be able to support us and all the balls that we are juggling, because there's a lot of glass balls across multiple of those.
And I would add, the thing that probably helps keep me most sane is knowing it, I think of it like a layered cake. Like, I know, okay, these are the dates that I have the Ready, Set, Coach group meetings, or these are the dates that we are doing our podcast, or these are the dates. And so then I'm able to layer the consulting part on top of it, or the coaching part on top of it. So having locked in and consistent dates. And I think this is a great recommendation too, for people who are wanting to start, again, a side hustle, or they have multiple businesses, but having recurring times on their calendar will not only condition your body to like knowing when this is going to happen, I feel like it helps condition my brain. Like, today is a Wednesday, and it's a busy day for me. It is probably my busiest day of the week that I have. But it's like, again, one of the busiest days of the week. And I know then the ease starts to start again on Thursdays and Fridays.
Such a great point. So we're saying, oh, give yourself grace, yada, yada. But what's something tangible? Okay, something tangible Emily and I do is we have time blocked. We have an hour blocked every Tuesday. We have 2 hours blocked every Thursday for Ready, Set, Coach. We also have reoccurring meetings set in our calendar for our clients, for both businesses. Then we each have our own ebbs and flows. So Em knows Wednesday's her busiest day, and then it lightens up. My flow is a little bit different, but these are things like the calendar becomes so key, and accountability. And my calendar serves as a great accountability buddy, but so do the systems we have in place. So something that we did very recently, this was a huge pain point of mine, is I felt very flustered switching between all the different systems, between the THEPRBAR and Ready, Set, Coach and the podcasts. And so we decided to invest in one system that could operate across both businesses, or I did, honestly. I know Emily.
Yeah, I'm planning on switching over too, thanks to you.
Yeah, because for me, my brain going from Trello over to whatever tool. Anyways, we're now on ClickUp. And so for me, I have the THEPRBAR on ClickUp and Ready, Set, Coach on ClickUp. So now I have one spot that I can go to that houses all of my businesses. And this has been a game changer for me, not throwing glass balls.
Yeah, no, and I think that that's great too, because one of the biggest challenges of having multiple businesses is analysis paralysis. You have so many things to do, but you're like, I'm going to go take a nap. I don't know where to start with this. It's so overwhelming. So, or we'll do the easiest tasks first rather than working on focusing on the hardest things. So I love that you mentioned ClickUp. And I think ClickUp has been a really great addition to our work and our workflow and how we operate more efficiently as a team.
Yeah. And what it does, and there's other systems that do this, but what it does for ClickUp is when I log on to ClickUp in the morning, I have now a to-do list that is organized by dates and priorities in one spot. So I'm not looking at, okay, here's my Ready Set Coach to-do list. Here's my PR bar in this. Here's my note here. It's all in one streamlined place. So even though they're different entities and different businesses and legally they're different and yada, 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 for me, it shows up in one hub and I can go down that to-do list of all my glass balls and click them off and check them off accordingly. Now that took work to get that system set up in place. Actually, we hired a consultant. Yeah, shout out to Jenny Jones who came in and we're still tweaking it, but there's automations involved. And so when you get to a point where you're operating multiple businesses, point blank, it's harder. You need support. It might be time to invest in systems. So really take a look at what balls are you dropping and is there a solution that can help you not drop them?
And last thing that I will add, I think it's important if you are managing multiple businesses, are there priorities of like working hours versus off working hours? Like, or do you really need to interface with your team? So Lex, for example, has this amazing team with the THEPRBAR, who works specific hours. So she might, I'm putting words in your mouth, probably Lex, but like she might work certain hours, or same with my team. Like they're not online 24 hours. They're not an on-demand assistant. So you might need to interface and prioritize some time and some one-on-one space with them. The other thing too, and this is a completely different episode, but just thinking like if you do have a team, make sure to take advantage of having a team by building that FaceTime, building that rapport, building that know and trust, because these are people that will help you catch those balls when you can't do it all.
Amen. I've said amen 5 times.
Yeah, you're very religious today.
I don't know why I'm tired, guys. I know. Amen. So we're going to wrap this up with a little bit of homework. We talked through 3 different situations today. You're a current business owner adding a coaching revenue stream, or you're a professional doing the side hustle, or you're juggling multiple businesses. So your situation is uniquely your own. Okay. So your homework today is 2-part. First, it's taking inventory, and this is something we have brought up on other episodes, but think of this specifically in regards to your time and all the different buggles. Lord have mercy. All the different balls you are juggling, and figure out what your glass balls are. And then make a choice to add something, or what do you need to do to support that glass ball? Is it time blocking something? Is it investing in support? Is it changing a routine, trying to adapt a new habit? Look at those glass balls and make a choice to support them.
And amen to that.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys.
No, I appreciate it. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the
Ready Set Coach
podcast. And hopefully our fireside chat can show up this time.
Amen.
Amen. If you're enjoying the Ready Set Coach podcast, please leave a review wherever you are listening. For more information about Ready Set Coach, visit readysetcoachprogram.com.